Good evening. Welcome to the National News Broadcast. I'm Kasuni Balachandra.
And I'm Tilina Udayaratna. We begin with a look at the headlines for tonight.
Postal services in the country recommence tomorrow. The number of fully recovered COVID-19 infected patients reached 77. The COVID-19 Health and Social Welfare Fund exceeds a balance of 737 million rupees. The closure of the Peta Manning market extended by a week. Scientists assure that germs cannot fall on the earth through a comet.
Moving on to those and other stories in detail. The current account balance of the COVID-19 Health and Social Welfare Fund has exceeded 737 million rupees. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has established this fund on the 23rd of March. A number of donors contributed to this fund today as well. The Vijay Group of companies and the CIB Trade Organization contributed 15 million rupees, whilst the Ceylon Gem Merchants and Miners Association donated 5.5 million rupees today. The Jatika Mata Sri Devi Silva Silmani Organization donated 100,000 rupees, whilst the Staff Association and the Graduated Staff Association of the Service Department donated 500,000 rupees. Donations are credited to the special account maintained at Bank of Ceylon, which is 85737373. A number of local and foreign donors have contributed to the fund. Donations credited through legally verifiable sources are exempted from taxes and currency regulations. Contributions can also be made through checks and telegraph orders. The President's Media Division states further information can be obtained from the Director General of Administration, KB Egudavela, on telephone numbers 011 2354 354 or 0112 354 475. The Chinese embassy states another consignment of medical equipment donated to Sri Lanka by the Chinese government will be received today. The equipment is valued at $695,000. China, on a previous occasion as well, donated medical equipment to Sri Lanka at a value of over $120,000. China says this donation is granted in a bid to strengthen the measures taken to combat the new coronavirus spread. Thereby, the second consignment is to be transported via an aircraft of the China Eastern Aviation Services. The consignment includes 20,000 PCR testing equipment, which are used to test for COVID-19. In addition, it also includes 10,000 protective face masks, which are worn by healthcare workers, and 100,000 surgical masks. 10,000 kits of disposable personal protective clothing and 1,000 pairs of goggles are also included in the government, together with 50,000 pairs of disposable surgical gloves. The Chinese embassy expresses praise on the effective steps taken and the success achieved in combating the COVID-19 virus in Sri Lanka. The Chinese government extends its respectful sentiments to the medical staff and the people of Sri Lanka for the many sacrifices made in the efforts to contain the spread of the COVID-19 virus.
The postal distribution of mail and parcels will commence from tomorrow. Postmaster General Ranjit Aryaratne, speaking at a media briefing held today, said mail and parcels retained at the Central Mail Exchange after curfew was imposed will be cleared from tomorrow. The Postal Department carried out a special task during the curfew period. This was the distribution of pharmaceuticals to around 250,000 people. A backlog of around 500,000 undistributed mail and parcels have been retained at the Central Mail Exchange. The Postmaster General says these letters and parcels will be cleared from tomorrow. Postmaster General Ranjit Aryaratne said, according to a meeting held with the participation of the secretaries and chaired by the President, the possibility of recommencing routine activities of the public sector will prevail in the coming days, and it is necessary for the public sector to be prepared. The Postmaster General said, thereby a special discussion was held chaired by the Ministry Secretary, and upon the the instructions received at the discussion, the preliminary compilations necessary to facilitate the distribution of mail and parcels, which will be received in the coming days, commenced today.
Presidential Secretary Dr. P.V. Sundara has donated his salary and allowances of next month to the public sector employees, widows and orphans fund. The Presidential Secretary has notified the President that he voluntarily took the stance as the leader of the nation needs to have an obstacle-free budget. Dr. P.B. Sundara says the monthly wages bill of the government is 80 billion rupees, and when state corporations, banks and universities are added, the total closes up to 90 to 100 billion rupees. The Presidential Secretary says the far-sighted leadership given by the President to ensure the health and safety of the poor and the people at risk in combating the spread of the COVID-19 virus is excellent. Therefore, he took this decision to assist the President in these efforts. Dr. Jayasundara says if all public sector employees donate at least half of their salaries, the non-tax revenue of the government for the month of May will rise by 50 billion rupees and government expenditure will come down by 50 billion rupees, resulting in the deficit reducing by 100 billion rupees within a month.
With 7 more patients being discharged upon full recovery today, the number of fully recovered COVID-19 infected patients reached 77. Meanwhile, 4 newly confirmed cases were also reported today. 3 out of these cases are from the females sent to the Punani Quarantine Centre. Director General of Health Services Dr. Anil Jasinghe says the female who tested positive the day before yesterday is from the Kotahena area. The Director General explains when this female was flying to India on the 12th, she says that there was a foreigner seated next to her and was suffering from a severe cough. She further states as a result, she even changed her seat. Dr. Jasinghe states upon information received, she developed a cough and other symptoms before the 27th. However, since this patient suffers from asthma, she did not take the symptoms seriously. The total number of COVID-19 patients reported in the country is currently 242. No newly confirmed cases were reported yesterday. The number of COVID-19 related deaths stand at 7. The number of infected patients undergoing further treatment is 164 and they are being treated at the Angoda IDH, Valikanda Base Hospital, Mulleriava East Based Colombo Hospital and Iranavilla Hospital. Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi says when this disease was spreading worldwide, countries such as America focused much attention on the economy more than the health of the citizens. However, she believes that just as parents safeguard their children, the President, the Prime Minister and the government decided to save the people and thereafter reorganized the economy. The highest number of COVID-19 infected patients have been reported from the Colombo, Kalutara, Putlam, Gampaha and Jaffna districts. These districts have been declared as high-risk zones.
බේරා ගන්නවා ආර්ථිකය ඊට පස්සේ අපි සකස් කර ගන්නවායි කියන කාරණේ. ඒ අනුව තමයි මේ මාතෘ භූමියේ විශාල පිරිසක් මහපාරේ මිය දෙන්නට තිබිච්ච තත්වයෙන් මේ රට බේරා ගැනීමට අපට පුළුවන්කම ලැබුණේ. හැමදාම මම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ අපට මේ රටේ ඇඳිරි නීතිය දාලා රට වහලා තියාගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අපට සිද්ධ වෙනවා. දැන් සමාජය තුල මේ රෝගය බෝවීම නැති තරමටම තිබෙන නිසා මේ රට නැවත ප්‍රකෘති තත්ත්වයට පත් කිරීමට නැවත සිතා බැලීමට කාලය ඇවිල්ලා කියලයි මම විශ්වාස කරන්නේ.
Meanwhile, 220 individuals who completed their quarantine were discharged from the Punani Quarantine Centre upon completion of a 21-day quarantine period. These individuals were sent to quarantine reportedly from the Dehiwala and Gunasingapura areas. "314 individuals resident along Imamularu's Mawata in Maradana were sent for a 14-day quarantine to the Punani Centre, out of which 212 individuals returned home upon completion of their quarantine. The entire area was disinfected before their arrival, as the third COVID-19 related death was reported from this area.
Defence Secretary Major General Kamal Gunaratne says the manner in which Sri Lanka faces the COVID-19 global pandemic is an example to the rest of the world. The Defence Secretary says even superpowers have been unable to create an environment in which their citizens can live without fear. The Defence Secretary made these comments at a gathering held at the Kilinochchi Defence Headquarters today. The efforts taken by the police and the tri-forces to combat the epidemic were evaluated by the Defence Secretary.
රටක් මුදලින් පොහොසත් වූ තරමට බලයෙන් පොහොසත් වූ තරමටම ඒ රට බලවත් රටක් කියලා කියන්න අපිට අමාරුයි. යුද ශක්තිය කොච්චර තිබුණත් රටේ ධනස්කන්ධය කොච්චර තිබුණත් අනෙක් අයවරුන් පාගගෙන
Defence Secretary retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne said it is difficult to assume that a country is powerful just because it is wealthy, as regardless of the wealth, the military power and the power to trot down others. If an environment in which the citizens can live without fear cannot be created, it is questionable as to what such a country's purpose is. He added the government of this country is an example to the whole world when it comes to facing the COVID-19 pandemic.
As health authorities emphasize that face masks must be worn in high-risk areas, whereby it is mandatory for drivers and passengers entering Colombo for essential services to wear face masks. At roadblocks in the Colombo city, checks were done to make sure passengers had their face masks on. In addition, motorists were briefed on the advantages on wearing face masks. The Avissaville acting magistrate today ordered 9 individuals who were arrested and produced before court for gambling to be sent for a 21-day quarantine. Meanwhile, 15 motorcyclists were arrested over the past 24 hours by the Polonnaruwa police for violating curfew regulations. Special surveillance operations are underway to nab individuals engaging in illegal activities by misusing their curfew passes. The Maravilla police arrested a lorry transporting 400 bags of cement on the pretext of transporting essential food items. The police special task force arrested a group of individuals involved in selling liquor illegally. The group were rounded up at the Katana Road block upon a tip-off received that they were distributing liquor along the byroads of the Gampaha district in a van.
The government has taken steps to grow 15 types of vaginal crops in 100,000 acres of land under the Saubhagya National Food Production Program. Speaking at a media briefing held at the Ministry of Agriculture today, Ministry Secretary Neil Bandara Hapohinne said the government has also taken steps to introduce a methodology to determine a certified price and a purchasing mechanism for these crops. Thereby, when purchasing the harvest of these crops, a kilo of maize will be bought at 50 rupees, whilst a kilo of potatoes and big onions will be bought at 100 rupees. The purchasing price of a kilo of red onions produced under this program will be 110 rupees. 220 rupees will be paid when purchasing a kilo of cowpea and cashew nuts, whilst a kilo of green gram and palm will be purchased at 200 rupees. A kilo of dried chilies will be purchased for 650 rupees, whilst a kilo of kurakkan will be purchased for 175 rupees. Turmeric will be purchased for 80 rupees per kilo, while soya beans and ginger will be purchased for 125 rupees per kilo. A kilo of garlic will be purchased at 350 rupees. These 15 crops will also be covered by an insurance policy introduced by the Agro Insurance Board. Director General of the Mahaweli Authority, Sunil Pereira, says a policy decision has been taken to shift towards organic farming. The release of irrigation water for the cultivation of paddy and other additional crops in the Polonnaruwa district has begun from the Maduru Oya and Pimburakti Reservoir. Irrigation water will be supplied for 20,000 hectares of farmland in a bid to meet the rice requirement of the country. A harvest of 11,000 metric tons of paddy is expected. In addition, amongst additional crops, 3,000 metric tons of manioc, 2,000 metric tons of sweet potato are expected, whilst among grain, the focus is on a harvest of 3,000 metric tons of cowpea and green gram.
Well, in the meantime, steps were taken today to send 360 persons, including beggars and labourers who were stranded for around a month at the Gunasinghapura bus halt in Petta to safe locations. The measure was implemented by the Western Province Senior DIG's office, and it was significant to know that these individuals were bathed and provided with necessary sanitation. After curfew was imposed on the 21st of March, many beggars in the Colombo city and those who do not have permanent lodgings crowded within the premises of this bus terminal. With the detection of a COVID-19 infected patient from the area recently, it was also revealed that the infected patient had interacted with these beggars as well. Food and other requirements for these persons who have been stranded at the bus halt for around a month were provided by the police today. Steps were taken to dispatch them to safe locations after they were bathed, disinfected and given new clothes. Senior DIG overseeing the Western Province Deshabandhu Tennakon says as the bus terminal is not a safe location, it was decided to relocate these persons at 3 healthy environments. After this group of persons were registered, they were examined by the PHIs. They were transported to safe locations by 3 special buses after being provided with face masks and other required items.
The Parvati Hunt organization has volunteered to donate dry rations for bhikkhus resident at forest monasteries. Chairperson of the Parvati Hunt organization, Venerable Muruttettue Anandathera, calls on those who are willing to volunteer to support this measure to come forward. Chairperson of the Parvati Hunt organization, Venerable Muruttettue Anandathera, points out as it is not possible for the public to meet with an offer alms to bhikkhus at forest monasteries, the Parvati Hunt organization has volunteered to facilitate the task. The Thera explains only food items such as rice, coconut and dal are needed, whilst dry rations are also accepted. However, cash donations are not accepted. The Thera states those willing to volunteer in this task can hand over dry rations to the Abhayarama Vihara to be transported to the bhikkhus at forest monasteries.
The government, together with welfare organizations, are granting concessions to the public in the form of dry rations and essential commodities. Dry rations were distributed among underprivileged persons in the Trincomalee district recently. The Muslim German Help Organization provided dry rations to all communities in the district, whilst sponsorship from the Kinya Aziza Foundation was given by Hassan Maulavi Manram. Directors of the Aziza Foundation, Tariq Hassan and Satiq Hassan, joined in on donating essential items to temples and mosques. In addition, dry rations were distributed among 3,800 families. Under the first stage of this initiative, relief was granted to the Kinya, Kamtale, Thupur, Palatupur, Selvanagar, Mutunagar and Baratipuram areas of the Trincomalee district.
The police and the Triforces have been organizing musical programs to relieve the mental stress of those who are confined to their homes due to the coronavirus. The Air Force Band organized a musical show at the Randia Uyana Flats at Grand Pass yesterday. The show was organized upon the instructions of Air Force Commander Air Marshal Sumangala Dias. A musical show organized by the Sri Lanka Army for the residents of the flats at Imamul Aruz Mawata Colombo 10 was held yesterday. It was organized upon the instructions of Army Commander Lieutenant General Shavendra Silva.
Come on. Rupale Wadurava Udasovana. Anduvale Viruki Murachana. Paradane Parate Kamulamela. Hey, Marivane Parate Kamulamela.
A musical show was also organized at the Gotatua police station for the motivation of police personnel who have been on duty without leave. Such musical programs are also planned to be held at other police stations as well.
All Gramanildaris have decided to call off their trade union action. This decision was taken after a discussion held with the head of the Special Presidential Task Force, Basil Rajapaksa, at Temple Trees this evening. Head of the Special Presidential Task Force, Basil Rajapaksa, conducted a successful discussion with Prime Ministerial Secretary Gamini Senarath. Well, that's it from the Rupavahini news desk for tonight. Do join us once again tomorrow. Until then, take care. Good night.
Good night.